Okay, everyone, let's just settle into our meditation posture. Hello, Victor, welcome. And let's just try and land wherever you've been rushing from, whether it's a long commute or just out the... In Australia, we'd just say out the back paddock. I'm sure there's a different way of talking about it here. Whether you've just walked in from your art studio or wherever you've just come from. Just land. And check your body. Feet flat on the floor if they are down, without, when the legs parallel, if they're down, if your feet are down on the ground. If you've got your legs crossed in the regular meditation posture, make sure you have something under your knees if your hips and knees are tight. You can raise your sit. In Australia we call them, and England we call them sit bones, but here I notice several times I've heard physical therapists and yoga teachers call it sits bones. So the sits bones, the ischium, it's good to have them raised and on something firm. Hands are in the meditation mudra, right hand nestled in the left with the thumbs touching. And let's just imagine our spine is a string of pearls of light stretching from the base all the way up through the crown of the head and out. You can imagine someone is above you or behind you very gently, lengthening your spine. Shoulders are over the hips. And just very gently, you can even just imagine it. Imagine it's like almost as if someone's got the tip of your ears and lifts your head up slightly and glides your head back so that your ears are in line with your shoulders. I mean, this does require that you have a fairly well-aligned spine without too much curvature in the upper thoracic. Head is slightly tipped forward, eyes are down, looking along the length of the nose, tip of the tongue on the roof of the mouth, and just relax the jaw. And let's bring our awareness to the crown of the head and relax the scalp and the forehead. And take your mind's eye into the back of your eye socket and relax all those muscles there. Relax the eyes, the nose, the area around the mouth. Let's bring our awareness to the back of the head and relax the scalp there and the base of the skull, the occipital bone, the occipital region. We hold quite a bit of tension there. And relax the ears and the temples. And as you're doing this, you'll notice your face continues to relax, your jaw continues to relax. And what I learned this evening in my pelvic workshop that I've just attended is that if the jaw is relaxed, it's very likely that the pelvic floor is also, if the jaw is tight, it's also likely that the pelvic floor is tight. As we get older, the pelvic floor is extremely important particularly for bladder control. So we want to keep ourselves healthy and strong. And the reason those two areas are connected, I found out tonight, was because when we are embryos, very before we're still developing, the muscles and ligaments of the jaw and the muscles and the ligaments of the pelvic region are grown around about the same place, and then as you lengthen, it all stretches out. So there's neurologically, nervous system, and physically, and in terms of your muscles and tendons, these very, very strongly connected, these two areas. So I didn't know that. Relax the back of the neck, the shoulders, the upper thoracic, your throat, chest and belly, limbs, hands, fingers, feet and toes. Let's bring the mind to the breath. Notice the sensation of the air as you're breathing in, slightly cooler than the air you're exhaling. And welcome, Manuel. If there are any sounds in your environment, somebody in your house, pets, if you hear anything outside, traffic, try not to be distracted by those sounds. Allow the sounds to disappear into the background. And try not to draw your attention to those sounds. Keep bringing the mind back to the breath. And then notice the thoughts as they arise, as they abide, and as they fall. And try not to engage with your thoughts. Try not to judge what you're thinking, criticize yourself, or engage in any kind of negative self-talk. And just let the thoughts go and just feel. Bringing the mind back to the breath. Now let's bring to mind again our very simple meditation on equanimity. All the people of our life. The people you love and take care of, who take care of you, they support you. And then there's the ones we don't like terribly much. And then there's our strangers. It's always good to remember at any time these three groups could change place. And you may have even examples of that in your own life. They all deserve our equal concern because we're all the same in our wish to be happy and our wish to not suffer. And we're all the same with this unbelievable capacity for the enlightened mind. So just think we're going to do this meditation on Vajrasattva tonight for the benefit of all these beings. And by extension, all sentient beings. And we can bring to mind particularly the people in Ukraine. Just seems to get, the more news I watch on it, the more difficult it seems to be. So keep those people in your heart. And as we've been doing, if you like, you can bring somebody into the meditation. Someone who might not necessarily come normally. Put them beside you. And imagine they're doing the meditation with you. So now, as we know, there is no negativity that cannot be purified. There's nothing so awful that you've done, so bad, so horrible, that you can't purify it. And I remember when I was working with the prisoners, with Liberation Prison Project, this is one thing that gave absolute great relief to the prisoners, because they've all done stuff. And they all feel bad about themselves. And they've all been kind of dropped by society and their families. So this brought great relief to them to know there was a practice they could do where they wouldn't be judged and that they could purify the things they'd done. So for all of us. So here we start with the power of regret. So regret from the depths of your heart. Anything you have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all past lives. And think of specific actions of your body and your speech. And the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma, action. So anything that we have done to harm another sentient being is going to end up as suffering for us in the future. So we'd like to pull out these karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering. So think like this: I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows, because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering. And also regret the anger, the attachment and the rest are the cause of the why we harm others. And again think, I'm sick of this suffering. And then think, okay, so what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So here we come to the power of reliance and refuge. And we turn to the Buddha, the doctor, who has the methods that we can use to purify, to heal ourselves. And it's not that we're wanting Vajrasattva to forgive us. We want to purify ourselves, to heal ourselves by relying upon his methods. So imagine Vajrasattva above the crown of your head. And you can also imagine that he's your teacher, your trusted mentor, your guru, your lama, however you see these people that are helping you along the spiritual path. If you wish, you can imagine this is the mind of that person manifesting in this aspect for your benefit. And he's made of radiant, blissful white light, sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a moon disk. And the lotus, although born out of mud, is untainted by mud, just like our enlightened potential, born out of our delusions, yet untainted by them. He has this beautiful, radiant face. His eyes are long and peaceful and full of love and compassion for you and all the people of your life. He has no judgmental thoughts towards you, no critical thoughts towards you, just accepts you exactly as you are. And wants to help you. He has a sweet red mouth and his hair is black and held up in a top knot. He's wearing the 5-pointed crown on his head embedded with jewels, and he's wearing jewelry all over his body, different parts of the body. And he's wearing the celestial silken robes, just all floating in the wind. He has an aura of light around his head and around his body. His arms are crossed at his heart. Excuse me. The left underneath the right. The left is holding a bell representing wisdom. The right is holding a vajra, which represents the indestructibility of compassion, and their being crossed represents the union of these two, symbolizing enlightenment itself, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened by this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva. May I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. So in order to develop compassion, we need to rely upon other beings, the very beings we have harmed and those who have harmed us, by developing compassion for them. So think particularly of the people you have harmed recently and maybe even in the past, and generally all beings we've ever harmed, and then try and develop a sense of compassion for them. And then think of the people who have harmed you. And because of the suffering they've caused you, they're going to experience suffering themselves in the future. So I think I must do this practice for their sake and develop a sense of compassion for them because of their future suffering and their current suffering. So next we come to the power of remedy, and this is the medicine, doing the practice of purification. And we're using mantra, recitation, and visualization. So first is the purification of the body, and Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, very forcefully from his heart, and it arcs around and pours into you through the crown of your head, filling your entire body completely. And it keeps pouring into you and forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you've ever done to anyone with your body. It pours out of you in the form of inky liquid and disappears into space, not one atom left, as you recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida Mebawa Sutokayu Mebawa Supokayu Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasiti Mempiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tathagata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida Mebawa Sutokayu Mebawa Supokayu Mebawa Anarakta mebowa sawasiti mimpi yatsa sawa kama sitame sitam shriyam kuruhum ha ho bhagavan sawa tathagata vajramami mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dinapatita dida mebowa sutokaya mebowa supokaya mebowa Anarakta mebowa sawasiti mimpi yatsa sawa kama sitame sitam shriyam kuruhum ha ho bhagavan sawa tathagata vajramami mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dinapatita dida mebowa sutokaya mebowa supokaya mebowa Anarakta mebowa sawasiti mimpi yatsa sawa kama sitame sitam shriyam kuruhum ha ho bhagavan sawa tathagata vajramami mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dinapatita dida mebowa sutokaya mebowa supokaya mebowa Anarakta mebowa sawasiti mimpi yatsa sawa kama sitame sitam shriyam kuruhum ha ho bhagavan sawa tathagata vajramami mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dinapatita dida mebowa sutokaya mebowa supokaya mebowa Anarakta mebowa sawasiti mimpi yatsa sawa kama sitame sitam shriyam kuruhum ha ho bhagavan sawa tathagata vajramami mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dinapatita dida mebowa sutokaya mebowa supokaya mebowa Anarakta mebowa sawasiti mimpi yatsa sawa kama sitame sitam shriyam kuruhum ha ho bhagavan sawa tathagata vajramami mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe So be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is now completely purified, and think there is no way you could do anything other than benefit others now with your body. So the next is a purification of speech. And again, Guru Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra, and it arcs around and forcefully enters your crown, filling your entire body, except this time forcing up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech, and this overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So you just imagine all the gossip and the harsh speech and the useless speech and lying and talking badly about others behind their backs. All of this is purified by this powerful nectar filling you and overflowing and disappearing into space as we recite the mantra. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dinapatita dida mebowa sutokaya mebowa supokaya mebowa Anarakta mebowa sawasiti mimpi yatsa sawa kama sitame sitam shriyam kuruhum ha ho bhagavan sawa tathagata vajramami mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dinapatita dida mebowa sutokaya mebowa supokaya mebowa Anarakta mebowa sawasiti mimpi yatsa sawa kama sitame sitam shriyam kuruhum ha ho bhagavan sawa tathagata vajramami mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dinapatita dida mebowa sutokaya mebowa supokaya mebowa Anarakta mebowa sawasiti mimpi yatsa sawa kama sitame sitam shriyam kuruhum ha ho bhagavan sawa tathagata vajramami mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dinapatita dida mebowa sutokaya mebowa supokaya mebowa Anarakta mebowa sawasiti mimpi yatsa sawa kama sitame sitam shriyam kuruhum ha ho bhagavan sawa tathagata vajramami mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dinapatita dida mebowa sutokaya mebowa supokaya mebowa Anarakta mebowa sawasiti mimpi yatsa sawa kama sitame sitam shriyam kuruhum ha ho bhagavan sawa tathagata vajramami mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dinapatita dida mebowa sutokaya mebowa supokaya mebowa Anarakta mebowa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guruhum ha 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 ho bhagawan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa maha samaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida mebowa sutokaya mebowa supokaya mebowa Anarakta mebowa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guruhum ha 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 ho bhagawan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa maha samaya sattva aham pe. So again, feel so happy that your speech is now completely purified, and imagine it's not possible to do anything other than benefit others now with your speech. And the next is a purification of the mind, and Guru Vajrasattva now very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. And it's the same as when you walk into a room and you turn on a light, and that light instantly dispels the darkness in the room. So the same here. The moment the light from Vajrasattva's heart touches your heart, all the darkness of the negativity of your mind is instantly dispelled, and it just becomes light. So all our delusions, all our anger and our depression, anxiety, attachment and grasping, and jealousy and bitterness and neediness, disappointments, all of this completely disappears with this light and the recitation of the mantra. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida mebowa sutokaya mebowa supokaya mebowa Anarakta mebowa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guruhum ha 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 ho bhagawan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahazamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida mebowa sutokaya mebowa supokaya mebowa Anarakta mebowa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guruhum ha 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 ho bhagawan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida mebowa sutokaya mebowa supokaya mebowa Anarakta mebowa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guruhum ha 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 ho bhagawan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida mebowa sutokaya mebowa supokaya mebowa Anarakta mebowa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guruhum ha 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 ho bhagawan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida mebowa sutokaya mebowa supokaya mebowa Anarakta mebowa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guruhum ha 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 ho bhagawan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida mebowa sutokaya mebowa supokaya mebowa Anarakta mebowa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guruhum ha 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 ho bhagawan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida mebowa sutokaya mebowa supokaya mebowa Anarakta mebowa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guruhum ha 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 ho bhagawan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe. So again, be delighted that all your delusions, which are the source of all of our own suffering and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech, are totally purified, gone. And think there is no space in your heart now for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. And the next is the purification of the imprints of negativity of the body, speech and mind. And you can imagine you can actually recite a couple of mantras for each of the visualizations of the body, speech and mind. Or you can just imagine light and nectar pouring into you and filling you completely and eradicating even the subtlest imprints of negative energy from your mind as you recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebowa Sutokaya Mebowa Supokaya Mebowa Anarakta Mebowa Sawasidi Mepi Yata Sawakama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebowa Sutokaya Mebowa Supokaya Mebowa Anarakta Mebowa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawakama Sutame Sitam Shriyam Guruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebowa Sutokaya Mebowa Supokaya Mebowa Anarakta Mebowa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawakama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebowa Sutokaya Mebowa Supokaya Mebowa Anarakta Mebowa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawakama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebowa Sutokaya Mebowa Supokaya Mebowa Anarakta Mebowa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawakama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebowa Sutokaya Mebowa Supokaya Mebowa Anarakta Mebowa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawakama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Mebowa Sutokaya Mebowa Supokaya Mebowa Anarakta Mebowa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawakama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe. So now feel completely purified. Not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to omniscience have been removed. So next we come to the power of resolve, and this is the fourth step in the purification process. And this is a really crucial step where we just decide we're not going to harm. We're going to refrain from harming, and we're going to start working on all of our habits. Habit of letting all this blah blah fall out of our mouth, whether it's harsh speech towards others, whether it's harsh speech about others behind their back, whether it's things we do with our body, accidentally killing things. So just think of something that you'd like to work on this evening, between now and tomorrow, when we meet again. And give yourself a timeline. So whether it be 30 seconds or a minute or 5 minutes or... The thing with speech is quite good because you can actually just say, well, I won't talk about so-and-so between the time I go to bed tonight and the time I wake up tomorrow morning. So it'll be about 7 or 8 hours. And then you won't have broken that promise to yourself. So we're just trying to work on our habits and break them down. And for those of you who've been doing this for quite some time, I urge you again to rejoice in your effort and to rejoice in your successes, no matter how small. Okay. So Guru Vajrasattva is delighted with us and wanting to merge with your mind, melts into white light and absorbs into you through your crown. And think, my Guru's body, speech and mind, Vajrasattva's body, speech and mind, and my own body, speech and mind are the same thing. And LAMA YESHE used to call this union oneness. And next, Rinpoche recommends to meditate on the emptiness of the three circles. In emptiness there is no I, the creator of negative karma, there is no action of creating negative karma, and there is no negative karma created. So place your mind at whatever level you understand this idea of emptiness. Place your mind there for a moment. And you can think of all phenomena as being empty. They do not exist from their own side. Or you can think perhaps the way things appear to me may not necessarily be the way they exist. Okay, so let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy you've created this evening doing this purification to all the people of your life. Thinking, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of all sentient beings as quickly as possible. And our long life prayers for His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the wish-granting, wish-fulfilling jewel, source of every single benefit and happiness in this world, to the incomparably kind Tenzin Gyatso I beseech, may all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. And for Lama Rinpoche, you who uphold the subduer's moral way, who serve as the bountiful bearer of all, sustaining, preserving, and spreading Manjunath's victorious doctrine, who masterfully accomplishes magnificent prayers, honouring the three jewels, savour of myself and others, your disciples, please, please live long. And for Lama Ursul, Venerable One, to you whose kindness exceeds that of all the conquerors, for those wanderers in far-off places, especially the West, mindful of your loving concern for us and intentionally descending again into a family of a far distant land, we make this request. O Lama, please, please live long. And for Geshe Shera, beloved teacher, leading your students toward wisdom and compassion, explaining through exacting discernment the steps of the graduated path, you are the unequal guide. Please live a long and stable life. Gone like a dream, as usual. Thank you very much, everyone. I do appreciate you coming along night after night for so long. Amazing. Well done. And thank you, Shayla, for hosting. Thank you, Mary. Thanks, everyone.